Ms. Tin Pei Ling.
Mr. Speaker, sir, a crisis tests the mantle of any society and generation. It can tear us apart or rally us together. COVID-19 is our test. Around the world, we observe social and political fractures caused or exacerbated by the pandemic. In the UK, more than half of Britons, surveyed by think tank Demos, resented lockdown rule breakers and people who do not wear masks, much more compared to only 33% of non-Brexiteers resenting the Brexiteers. In the US, wearing a mask was so politicized at one point that it becomes a symbol of which political party one supports. In big Western cities, attacks were launched on Asians. A Singaporean student was attacked in London last year at the beginning of the pandemic. Some elderly Asians also reportedly suffered violent attacks in California, a problem that was simmering since the pandemic began. Both were reported to be racially motivated. Women in many countries were hit disproportionately compared to men. In Latin America, women were 50% more likely than men to lose a job in the pandemic's first month. McKinsey also reported that female job losses is 1.8 times higher than male job losses in the US and India. Seniors in some countries suffer greater income reduction or job losses. A consequence of this is poorer or loss of healthcare benefits. Seniors in countries with government-funded medical benefits or insurance may still have access to basic services, but those in countries without would naturally suffer. We see how societies can fracture further and deeper along political, racial, gender, and age lines when under pressure. Singapore is not spared from this same pressure brought upon by the pandemic. Thankfully, we have not observed the same fractures or of the same extent here. Yet, we must do our best to prevent them. How we respond to this crisis of our generation is important. Will Singapore emerge stronger and feel stronger as a people? Or will we look stronger but feel more apart instead? Therefore, I echo the importance of strengthening social compact as highlighted in this budget. In this speech, I'll talk about empowering our seniors and women in the workforce so as to enhance overall well-being and strengthen our sense of togetherness. On empowering seniors, over the past years, much has been done to better support senior employment in Singapore, with government initiatives such as the Special Employment Credit and Retirement and Re-employment Act introduced. CPF contribution rate increment for workers above the age of 55 was also announced in August 2019. Yet, we still encounter seniors who want to work but struggle to secure suitable and adequate employment. Most recently, while visiting the Geylang East Market and Food Centre in my constituency, I met an auntie who was in her late 60s. We greeted each other warmly before her tone took a turn and asked me, "MP, is there any government rule or law that prohibits a person from working beyond a specific age?" I told her of course not. Curious, I asked her what prompted her question. She replied, "I want to work, but my employer said that I am old and wanted me to be redeployed to a job with less scope and less pay. And after I reach the end of the re-employment age, I will have no job. But I'm still very fit. I can still do my original job. I need the income too." Auntie's predicament is not unique. In serving our residents, we would have met other seniors who face similar challenges. They are often the first to go and last to be hired. Ageism is unfortunately rather rooted in Singapore. Despite an aging workforce, ageist mindsets can be found in many workplace settings. Negative stereotypes about older people, that they are slower, weaker, more rigid, less productive, can significantly hinder the deployment of precious human resource and discourage development even as we promote lifelong learning. Recruitment agency Randstad reported in a 2020 survey on ageism in the workplace that 57% of Singaporeans feel training opportunities get fewer as they grow older, and 64% of those aged 55 and above feel this way. Such perceived loss of opportunities affect morale and career prospects, and eventually impact self-esteem and the sense of togetherness with the rest of Singapore. We must proactively combat ageism in the workplace and recognize the value that senior workers can offer. Moreover, our aging workforce means that employers have to accept the reality of an increasingly mature manpower supply. Hence, our default thinking should be to find ways to leverage senior workers' strengths and not find ways to undermine or get rid of them. To this end, I would suggest the following. Push companies to review HR policies and encourage them to make it an SOP to hold conversations with senior workers on meaningful re-employment or redeployment. To be fair, there is a need for renewal so that younger workers have a chance to rise up and accumulate their own experiences. But where senior workers are still fit and keen to work, companies should discuss options that allow senior workers to preserve their work and compensation. Let us not automatically filter them out. Number two, the world is always changing and firms constantly have to change with corresponding strategies. Similarly, firms can adapt its working environment, job design, and processes to be enabling for senior workers. Technology enablers are available, productivity does not have to suffer. Moreover, the jobs for senior workers of tomorrow will be increasingly intellectual and less backbreaking. So, the earlier we get ready for an aging workforce, the better. Third, for senior workers who have to leave or wish to give a shot in a different endeavor, have in place a center that focuses on matching these seniors to new jobs or opportunities that allow them to contribute socially, for example, volunteerism. This can help redirect precious senior human resources to areas where there are unfulfilled needs. And lastly, continue to encourage our seniors to stay positive and embrace learning. In Mandarin, please. 一场危机考验着任何社会和一代人的宿命。2019冠病疫情正是我们的考验。放眼全球，我们目睹了在压力下一个社会如何在政治、种族、性别和年龄方面深陷分裂。相对而言，虽然新加坡还未出现类似或如此严重的社会分裂，但是我们不能掉以轻心。因此，我赞同在本预算案中强调加强社会契约的重要性。离心则四分五裂，同心则越战越勇。在此，我想谈一下赋权劳动队伍中的年长者，提高整体福祉，强化我们的团结意识。新加坡在过去的几年里推出了如特别就业补贴和退休与重新雇用法等措施，支持想工作的本地年长人士就业。政府也在2019年8月宣布上调55岁以上员工的公积金缴付率。我们不时在媒体平台上听到重新雇佣和年长者继续留守劳动队伍的例子，这些消息令人感到鼓舞。然而，我们依然看到有年长人士仍面临就业挑战。刚才我分享了我在走访选区内的牙龙东巴沙河熟食中心时，遇见一名年近70岁的 auntie 的遭遇。这名 auntie 的困境并不是单一的例子。在服务居民的过程里，我们不时碰到面临找工作难或守住工作难的年长者，他们往往是第一个走、最后一个被聘的一群。不幸的是，新加坡的年龄歧视问题根深蒂固。尽管劳动市场老龄化，政府积极推动亲老环境，许多工作场所中依然出现歧视年长者的心态，这会严重阻碍部署这些宝贵的人力资源。员工认为丧失机会会将影响他们的士气和职业前景，进而打击自尊心以及其他新加坡群体的团结感。我们必须积极对抗职场上的年龄歧视问题，大力提倡老有所为的思想。我们应该积极思考如何取长补短，而不是积极设法淘汰年长员工。为此，我想提出以下的建议：第一，推动企业审视其人事政策，鼓励他们制定 SOP， 与年长员工对话，讨论重新雇用或调配职务。若年长员工身体仍然健壮，对工作抱有热忱，公司应与他们讨论方案，允许这些年长员工继续保持现有的工作和薪资，别自动将他们排除在外。第二，企业可以调整其工作环境设计和流程，以配合年长员工的需求。企业可善用科技作为辅助。此外，年长员工未来的工作也将越来越智能化，辛劳的工作也将减少。 因此提早为老龄化劳动队伍做好准备将事半功倍。第三，对于必须离开或希望尝试其他工作再出发的年长员工而言，政府可考虑建立一个中心，重点帮助他们与新工作或机会进行配对。这包括利用多年累积的经验，担任顾问、提供指导、从事义工行业等等。这是为了将宝贵的年长员工人力资源调派到有需求的方面。最后，继续鼓励年长者保持正面的态度和终身学习。Next, I would like to talk about women empowerment. Singapore is firmly set on our path towards a digital economy and smart nation. We must spare no effort to prevent inadvertently creating new gaps or exacerbating existing gaps as we transform. Digital empowerment is important. We need smart women for a smart nation. A 2016 Accenture report found that digital fluency can accelerate the closing of gender gaps, as countries can achieve gender equality some 25 to 40 years faster. Digitally empowering more women will also help to address the pressing digital talent shortage worldwide and generate greater economic growth. Looking ahead, we can anticipate that the strive towards a future economy would mean that there are more job opportunities, better career prospects, and wage growth in the tech and innovation sectors. If we do not help women to capture these opportunities, they risk falling behind further. In Singapore, while there is no significant change in the employment rates of women before and after the pandemic at its peak, thanks to our very sound and supportive and progressive government system and the workforce in Singapore, there remains a need for us to still step up in digitally empowering our girls and women. Based on a study conducted by the Boston Consulting Group, Singapore's women representation in technology is about 41%. Though this percentage is higher than that of neighboring Southeast Asian countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam, it is lower than the overall women representation in Singapore's workforce. Notably, however, Singapore female university graduates who studied technology lags behind other Southeast Asian countries at only 29%. We have hidden gems within our women population, waiting to be discovered or for the opportunity to shine. A dear friend of mine, Nurul Sharafuddin, is to me a great example who had an amazing journey as a young Singapore woman in tech. Nurul started out as an MOE arts teacher. She was happy and well-loved by her students. But driven by her passion for learning and trying new things, she took a courageous move to switch career path. She applied for an entry position in Oracle. She stayed curious, acquired new digital skills, sought out her own mentor, and today, in just a few years, she is responsible for Oracle's business operations, organizational strategy, and programs in Japan APAC. Today, Nurul is a confident woman, a regional leader in an American tech MNC, and a mother of two no less, making her mark in the tech sector and giving back by mentoring many others. Nurul's journey shows us how digital empowerment can make a positive, big difference. It opens new doors and offers many more opportunities. But Nurul's experience is perhaps not a common one yet. Now and then, I still receive requests for help or hear of stories from residents who completed courses and tried hard to switch to a career in tech, but were unsuccessful. We must help them. To be fair, Singapore has in recent years stepped up in our effort to promote women in tech, with initiatives such as SG Women in Tech by the IMDA and the Women Luminaries program by PayPal and our 4 local autonomous universities. But we can do more to, number one, introduce more scholarships and education awards to encourage girls to study technology and related subjects in school. Number two, continue to emphasize public commitment to cultivating girls and women in tech in Singapore. Number three, drive board agendas and have companies set goals to recruit and cultivate more women in tech roles and create environments that are enabling for talent, both men and women alike, with family commitments. And number four, create and facilitate more peer networking and mentoring platforms for women or aspiring women in tech. In conclusion, I fully agree with the theme of this budget to emerge stronger. And a strong social compact is critical. The government's effort in addressing gaps, ensuring fair distribution of resources and opportunities, and engendering an inclusive society cannot be understated. But I believe we can still do more to help Singaporeans emerge stronger and feel that they are stronger, not weaker. When Singaporeans feel that they are progressing in tandem with the nation, there will be a stronger sense of togetherness, a stronger sense of pride and fulfillment. With a strong national psychological resilience, I am confident we will weather any crisis, come what may. I support the budget.